Allez, de retour, mesdames et messieurs, de retour pour la suite évidemment. Alors, je crois qu'on va mettre peut-être le. Ouais, non, c'est bon, on est avec le flux officiel. On va voir, bien sûr, ce qui va se passer, puisque là, maintenant, Title est champion du monde. Le Japon sur le toit du monde. Mais il y aura aussi, a priori, quelques petits leaks là, qui vont arriver sur le 7-10 de TFT, messieurs. Donc, forcément, il faut qu'on soit présent pour regarder.
C'est vrai, leak OMG, j'ai hâte.
Là, ils nous ont dit faut rester tune-in, donc nous on est tune là, on est full tune pour ça.
Ouais, là, on va regarder ça un petit
Et
peu. Vas-y, Dini.
messieurs, quand même, vice-champion du monde, c'est qui c'est?
What Jungler?
C'est.
C'est
Ouais.
White Jungler, c'est un Européen qui est deuxième là
Waouh,
actuellement.
c'est beau!
Avec quand même une grosse décision pour Volta qui était quoi, deuxième au classement général et qui finit septième malheureusement avec ce top 8. Ça dégoûte vraiment.
Et si jamais, bon bref, on refera pas le monde, mais si son santé n'était pas buggé, parce qu'il y a en fait 5ème, 6ème, 7ème, c'est un taille. Hein.
C'est un taille.
Punaise!
C'est un taille. Après, je sais pas si c'est lui qui perd le taille, c'est juste que sur le classement du site
Si,
sur lequel je
bah,
suis, il est septième. Mais...
a priori, il perd le taille du coup. Techniquement, il est 5ème.
Ah, tout se joue sur le slamming du tome. Hein. En vrai, c'est con à dire, mais le 2-1, il a eu quand même 4 synergies vraiment moyennes. Et
Ok,
il a
oui.
du commit sur
Oui.
Sorcier qui est vraiment en dessous. Et vous l'aviez dit, même Iverson, le joueur américain, pardon, il était parti dessus avec une bête de sortie. Il avait fait que un top 4. Donc,
Il a fait top 3, ouais,
c'est-
Iverson.
top 3. Ouais, ouais. Non, mais sur cette game-là, mais la game d'avant, je parlais.
Hmm, tout à
Où,
fait.
où il a été vraiment déçu. Et effectivement, Titan qui va chercher 3 top 1 d'affilée. Voilà, même si on est un petit peu sur, on reste un petit peu sur notre fin parce que c'est une finale des championnats du monde, on va au moins voir 5 games. Là, on est tous bluffés et il mérite quoi.
C'était le
Ah,
seul en statut de finaliste.
mais oui.
Et il a juste fait 3 top 1 à la suite. Il était inarrêtable. Et je pense qu'en plus de ça, on l'a dit pendant la game, mais on ne pouvait pas le deny. En fait, on ne pouvait pas l'arrêter. Avec le level up, il a contourné le fait que tout le lobby le regardait lui, voulait l'arrêter lui. Et il s'en est battu les steaks. Et juste, il est passé niveau 9, niveau 10. Il a trouvé sa compo sans aucun problème. C'est sûr qu'on parlera un petit peu du high roll des tomes. Le fait qu'il ait double Spat Slayer plutôt que Voltarius qui a récupéré Void Sorcier. Bon, évidemment, ça c'est un petit peu dérangé. Mais à côté de cette game où il high roll les tomes, il a eu un gameplay absolument phénoménal. Day 1, Day 2, Day 3. Il a crush le tournoi.
Surtout que là, quand tu regardes un petit peu le classement, il y a Iverson Wet Jungler à plus de 20 points, sinon personne n'est en format checkmate, n'est en checkmate actuellement. Hein. Alors que lui, il a déjà gagné.
Ouais,
C'était
c'est vrai.
déjà terminé. 4 games, c'est fou, hein. C'était le minimum possible de game et il l'a fait title.
Oui,
Quel
sachant
joueur.
qu'en plus, ils ont changé un peu le format parce que lorsque Double avait fait cette performance du triple top 1, il l'avait fait aussi, mais c'était sur 18 points. Donc, il y avait aussi un peu plus de marge de manœuvre. Là, non, le 20 points, c'était. Même il avait 21 points après son statut de finaliste, donc vraiment une performance hors norme. Alors voilà, on attend un petit peu, là c'est le highlight, c'est le moment d'analyse côté Riot Games. Un petit bilan aussi de ce 7-9 et 9.5. Doki Unid, vous avez tous les deux été déjà excellents sur le ladder hein, quand même. Unid régulièrement top 10 sur la fin du 7-9.5. Doki également à plus de 1000 LP tout le temps. Qu'est-ce qu'on en a pensé notamment du set 9.5. Est-ce que c'était un bon set? Est-ce que c'était un mauvais set? Est-ce que c'était un bon apprentissage pour Riot? Voilà, c'est quoi un peu le bilan peut-être toi Unid pour commencer de ce set?
J'ai globalement beaucoup aimé le 9.0, le 9.5. Je trouve que les synergies, les persos, les changements des items avec tu sais, tous les nouveaux items adaptifs, Night Harvester et tout, j'ai beaucoup, beaucoup, beaucoup aimé. La toute dernière méta basée sur Urf et un petit peu le gamble des tomes, je suis pas le plus grand fan forcément. J'ai le sentiment que c'est une méta qui enlève un petit peu de skill au profit du RNG. Mais globalement, sinon, j'ai adoré le 9.5. Il y a eu plein de métas différentes, plein de compos viables. Il y a vraiment énormément de compos viables. Hein. Là, les mecs qui sont en haut des championnats du monde, ils doivent savoir jouer tellement de compos différentes. Ça régale vraiment. Mais j'ai hâte que le set 10 sorte. C'est vrai que c'est mercredi prochain. J'ai vraiment très hâte de le tester. Mais globalement, j'ai adoré le 9.5. Ça a été mon set préféré all-time, je dirais.
Doki?
Bah ouais, moi en fait, étonnamment, je suis assez contrasté parce que je trouve qu'en termes d'équilibrage, ça a été un fiasco. Parce que on n'a pas eu un patch sans bipatch à chaque fois. Et pourtant, bah, je me suis amusé comme un fou.
Mm.
J'avais trop envie de lancer des games, alors que je trouvais, en fait, je trouve que l'équilibrage était naze, mais le set en lui-même était trop bien. Et moi, j'étais trop content de lancer des games. Je prenais quand même du plaisir à jouer à chaque fois. Je pense que les légendes compétitivement, c'est peut-être un petit peu un loupé, mais pour juste jouer des games en tant que casual qui a envie de renouveler le gameplay, de changer des trucs, de s'amuser, et bah, j'ai trouvé que le set globalement, moi, je trouve que c'est un succès.
Ouais, intéressant. En tout cas, je rejoins peut-être un peu plus Doki sur la vie. Je dirais que moi, c'est avec le recul les légendes hein, qui sont pour moi un échec total.
C'est un peu un flop.
C'est un
Ouais,
échec,
bah ouais,
échec total des légendes, vraiment les gars. Il y a, En fait, on le voit là. Normalement, le jeu classique, du coup, c'est joué avec la légende Poro. Voilà, c'est juste, bon, bah, t'as 3 augments, j'ai la chef. Là, en fait, tout le TFT game jouait Urf, surtout là au Worlds. Et
Quasiment
donc,
tout
là, on le voit très bien sur la game de Volta, et on a vu voilà, des centaines de games sur ce set. Ça se joue beaucoup au premier tome, parce que t'as le premier Demacia, quand t'as 2 Demacia, bon, bah, ça va être un tout droit sans PV. Tu l'as pas, bon, bah, tu vas devoir pivot, rebalancer, etc. Et que ça se joue sur des verticales, ça me dérange un petit peu. Donc j'ai vraiment pas apprécié. Donc moi sur le ladder perso, bon j'ai pas giga tryhard le 9.5, mais quand je jouais avec Poro je m'amusais bien parce que je trouvais que les augments globalement étaient bien foutus, les champions aussi. Je rejoins Doki sur le fait que évidemment la méta était pas terrible. On repense au multicaster qui était extrêmement fort pendant un moment avant le bipatch, mais c'est aussi à cause de TF. Faut s'en rendre compte, hein.
Ouais,
C'est
bah oui,
aussi
c'est ça.
parce
En
que
fait, c'est
tu
ça.
pouvais avoir tout le temps les items parfaits grâce à Pandora.
Après, cela dit, il y a des Américains qui, même des Chinois, qui avaient finalement joué multicaster avec Aise. Parce qu'au final, tu avais tellement d'items que tu finissais toujours par avoir des trucs corrects. Mais c'est vrai que les légendes, c'est un loupé. Et en plus, globalement, il n'y a pas tant de légendes qui ont été jouables dans tout le set. Hein.
En fait, il y
Veigar,
a
c'est le
eu un
flop
petit
de
peu une
tout, par exemple.
rotation des légendes viables. Genre, il y a eu Ezreal, il y a eu Ornn, il y a eu TF, il y a eu une petite période Draven, une petite période Master Yi également. Mais globalement, c'est un flop. Après, est-ce qu'on peut les blâmer? En fait, ils essayent de tester des choses et c'est comme ça qu'ils apprennent. Ils avaient essayé les élus, c'était un peu un flop. Ils avaient essayé les items cauchemar et radiant, c'était un peu un flop. Et ils apprennent et de 7 en 7, ils s'améliorent. Donc, ça me va, ils ont testé. Je suis d'accord avec vous, c'est un échec. Je pense que le concept de légende pourrait perdurer, mais il faudrait le modifier. Ça peut pas être comme ça. Les TF et les UR, c'est pas possible.
En fait, l'idée est bonne parce que l'idée, c'est le joueur peut jouer un truc en fonction du gameplay qu'il adore. Donc ça, l'idée sur le papier, c'est cool. Mais dans les faits, ça n'a pas marché.
Ouais, non, ça a clairement pas marché. Et puis, assez bêtement, hein, on voit bien que la plupart d'entre nous, on va regarder ce qui est le plus fort dans les stats. Et puis, on va dire, ok, bon, bah, Ornn, c'est toujours l'augment qui est incroyable d'avoir un item forge. C'est ce qui a complexifié le set. Donc, on verra bien ce que ça va donner au niveau des légendes. Est-ce qu'il y en a des nouvelles? Est-ce qu'il y a des changements qui vont être opérés? Peut-être un peu moins puissants? Est-ce que c'est peut-être une seule augment sur toute la game? Voilà, je dis un truc bizarre plutôt que d'avoir sur les trois choix d'augment. Mais voilà, beaucoup de choses à tirer sur cette 9.5. Le 7.10, vous l'avez compris aussi, les amis, c'est un changement pour TFT, puisque la X-League est arrêtée. Il n'y a plus de X-League désormais en France. C'était le dernier set de X-League. Et désormais, nous allons avoir un nouveau système qui sera annoncé par Riot Games eux-mêmes, avec le set... avec le 7-10, mais au moins ce qui est sûr, c'est qu'on va partir sur des sets de 4 mois et non plus de 2 fois 3 mois. Et ça va accélérer la cadence. Donc je voulais vous demander, Doki, par exemple, un set de 4 mois, est-ce que c'est pas une bonne nouvelle finalement?
Bah, c'est une bonne nouvelle parce qu'en fait, on se rend compte que t'as souvent un peu le même pattern, tu sais, où au début d'un set, t'as énormément de joueurs. Après, ça baisse un petit peu. T'as un regain vite fait en point 5. Et après, les fins de point 5, c'est horrible. En termes de player base, c'est le pire truc. Souvent, parce que c'est le même jeu, ça n'a pas de sens. En termes les casus comprennent pas très bien en plus parce que ça change un petit peu, mais pas vraiment. Donc, pour la lisibilité, le calendrier compétitif, les points 5, c'est vraiment pas bon. Donc, je pense que là, ça va dynamiser tout le truc. Et avec le nouveau circuit français qui sera annoncé très bientôt, ils avaient dit mi-novembre quand on a clôturé la X-League. Donc, j'ai vraiment hâte.
Ouais, dans 10 jours, effectivement. Et puis ensuite, sur la partie X-League, hein, clairement, moi je suis aussi, alors quelque part très triste, évidemment, parce que c'est un produit que je trouvais vraiment sympa, mais aussi d'un côté très content que ça se termine, parce qu'on l'a vu qu'il y avait des anomalies sur le circuit, avec des joueurs comme Enzo, il y a 6 mois, ou bien Zico, très récemment, qui ne font pas partie de la X-League, mais qui ont le niveau pour accéder aux Worlds. La X-League était trop difficile d'accès sur ces différentes options de up and down avec l'Open Tour France. Donc là, c'est bien, qui est aussi peut-être un changement, peut-être plus ouvert aussi, j'imagine, côté Riot. Ils nous diront un petit peu tout, mais voilà, au moins... il y aura peut-être plus de place aussi pour tout le monde et un peu comme je trouve en GSC ce qui est sympa c'est le fait que si t'as un petit peu d'élo, c'était master ou un truc comme ça, tu peux faire l'open qualifier et tenter ta chance, tu vois, sur un week-end tu sais pas trop quoi faire et qui sait, peut-être que tu peux aller en GSC, donc format comme ça me plairait bien et on verra en tout cas comment ça s'annonce, mais ça sent bon pour le 7-10.
C'est ce qu'ils ont annoncé, hein, parce que je ne ferai aucun leak, mais pour reprendre leurs mots, ils ont dit qu'ils voulaient mettre la communauté au centre du truc. Donc théoriquement, si jamais on se calque là-dessus, c'est la communauté, c'est vous, a priori.
OMG League.
C'est un peu leak quand même, hein. Ils l'ont
Bah
pas
non,
annoncé, hein.
Je reprends. Bah si,
League de fou,
dans
t'as
l'interview, il y a
tout dit, en fait,
marqué.
hein.
T'as dit que la tech,
L'interview, il y
là.
a marqué. Comment ça? Bah non.
Bah,
voilà.
t'as laissé aucun suspense en fait, on sait tout là.
Ok, bah j'ai tout leak. C'est fini.
Voilà.
Check, check, check.
Et oui les amis, puisque vous dans la communauté, voilà, on le dit au nom de Riot, vous allez pouvoir être champion du monde, puisque vous êtes
Oui.
au cœur du nouveau circuit de Riot Games. Si vous arrêtez vos études, si vous arrêtez votre travail, si vous quittez votre copain, votre copine, si vous décidez d'écarter toute relation amicale, professionnelle ou familiale, et que vous vous concentrez sur TFT, alors
Ça
peut-être
paiera.
que ça paiera. Plusieurs d'entre vous auront la chance peut-être de passer Master, peut-être certains Grandmaster, et l'un d'entre vous Challenger, et cette personne-là pourra accéder peut-être au titre de champion du monde pour succéder à Title. Je pense que le gamble en vaut la chandelle.
Attends, mais là tu me l'as tellement bien vendu, j'ai presque envie de devenir joueur pro pour essayer.
Très chaud. Pas mal du tout. En tout cas, oui, Yodid hein, qui a pris sa retraite officielle malgré ses 1300 LP réguliers. Et d'ailleurs, Yodid, comment ça va se passer l'année prochaine pour toi? Est-ce que tu as prévu des choses, des streams, des casts, des tournois, des choses avec la communauté?
Alors oui, j'ai beaucoup de choses en préparation, pas beaucoup de choses que j'ai le droit de révéler. Mais effectivement, ouais, ça va être moins de compétition et un peu plus de contenu. Après, je me suis fait inviter à quelques tournois auxquels j'ai dit oui, hein, mais un petit peu pour le côté détente, quoi. Mais tout à fait, ouais, beaucoup de choses qui arrivent. Et le 7-10, comme ça va durer 4 mois, en fait, la grande question que j'ai, c'est est-ce qu'ils vont faire encore tous les 4 mois un championnat d'Europe, un championnat du monde, 3 GSC? Ça me paraît vraiment très intense. Et si c'est le cas, bah, c'est très bien pour nous, créateurs de contenu, parce qu'il y aura toujours énormément de trucs à faire. Mais le rythme pour les joueurs pros, notamment, quand est-ce qu'ils se reposent, les man? Si tous les 4 mois, il y a une rotation complète, championnat d'Europe, championnat du monde, ça fait vraiment beaucoup. Je me demande comment ils vont faire vis-à-vis de ça.
Bah,
Mais en tout cas, je suis prêt pour tout commenter et organiser si je peux.
S'ils sont éliminés, j'ai envie de te dire.
S'ils sont éliminés,
En vrai,
ouais,
là,
tout à
par
fait.
exemple, côté français, il y avait que 2 joueurs. Sinon, la plupart des autres sont en repos, hein, tranquille. Donc, je pense que vu que c'est rare que tu puisses perf tous les sets, tout le temps, à toutes les compètes, bah, tu donnes tout jusqu'à ce que tu sois éliminé. Hein. Bon, ça me paraît
C'est
ok.
vrai,
Hein.
c'est vrai, c'est vrai. Mais si tu as des grosses rotations compétitives tous les 4 mois et que tu es un joueur qui performe quand même énormément, tu pourrais avoir très peu de périodes de repos. Ça
C'est
va
vrai,
vraiment s'enchaîner constamment, peut-être. J'attends de voir ça. Je me demande, ça paraît quand même bizarre de faire 3 Worlds par année, non?
Ouais, bah, ils n'ont pas encore dévoilé ça. Je sais pas ils ont même pas donné de date de ligue parce que nous, on sait que le circuit
C'est-
français c'est mi-novembre, mais le circuit européen, a priori, on n'a pas encore eu de date quoi.
Ouais, j'ai hâte de savoir ça en tout cas. Mais je pense qu'ils y ont bien réfléchi. Ils doivent avoir un plan sympa. Dans tous les cas, il faut faire confiance parce que pour l'instant, ça s'est quand même bien. Ça s'est quand même bien mis avec la X-League qui était très sympa. Et je suis également content pour la X-League hein, du changement de format. Je trouve que les ligues fermées sur TFT, ça faisait un petit peu moins de sens que potentiellement autre chose, un petit peu à la GSC. Ça pourrait simplement inclure tous les joueurs en fait. Parce que si tu es un nouveau joueur, que tu arrives, tu as un super bon niveau, tu devrais pouvoir accéder maintenant aux compétitions de plus haut niveau. Tu ne devrais pas avoir besoin de grinder pendant 3 mois sur un Open Qualifier pour monter à la ligue finale.
Oh, ligue de
Ça
fou.
fait plus de sens.
Ouais, clairement. En tout cas, il y a.
こう
Je sais qu'il y a
今
une
回の
interview
大会
de
をこ
Title
う
à l'instant
入って
même.
くるにあ
Je
た
me
ってど
permets
ういう
de
ふうに
basculer
こう
dessus.
自
Il y a une
信とか、
traduction en même temps.
感じてましたか？
Mais c'est dégoûté. Hein.
Ok.
そうですね。
Et après, il y aura
これ
les
で
ligues
世界
peut-être.
戦が3
Ils
回
sont
目
en
だっ
train
た
de
の
stall
で、
là, j'ai l'impression.
そうですね。なんでしょう。まあ、世界戦の経験だったら、他の他国のプレイヤーにも全然負けず戦っていけるんじゃないかなと、試合前から考えておりました。
So this is my third international event, and in terms of experience, I think I have more than enough compared to other players this time around. So in that way, I had a pretty good confidence on this tournament.
Okay.
That's fantastic. Do you have one, baby?
タイトルさん、TFT 一番プレイヤー最高です最高。
おめでとうございます。
Yep, おめでとう。So you are the number one TFT player right now, and I say your play was amazingly beautiful, well deserved.
Tellement
Please
joué,
compliment
bébé.
a lot. No question.
Yeah, no,
Just compliments.
compliments. All right, well, I will get one more for you, Title. I would love to hear if you have any people that you want to shout out or any words that you have for all of your fans out there in TFT.
最後になりますけど、タイトルさんのこうプレーを
ベスト
楽しんでいらっしゃるファンの皆様に一言いただけますか？
はい。日本のプレイヤー 以外の海外のプレイヤーからもたくさんの応援をいただきました。3日間たくさんの応援ありがとうございました。
I did get cheered from all over the world, players from all over the world, not only Japan and from everybody around the world, and I'm grateful for that, and thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much, Title, and congratulations once again. Also, thank you to Riot Shoe for the translations. But that is our world champion title.
On va écouter un peu le flux quand même pour être sûr.
What
Parce
an
que
amazing tournament from him.
je sais pas à quel moment il voulait dire qu'il y avait des leaks, j'imagine après l'interview.
It's
Mais
awesome that he's been able to bring that all back.
Yeah, and I mean, he gets to celebrate tonight with all of his community. Watch the ending of Attack on Titan. It's going to be a great day for Titan, honestly.
All right, well, I want to go over the entire day, the tournament,
12,
kind of get
12 000.
your thoughts of the
12.
final day here.
Sur un tome, il a perdu 50 000.
Still, each and every one of them was
C'est énorme.
absolutely incredible. Dan, we'll start with you.
I mean, this is my third championship being here in Spain, and I just can't really think of a more deserving winner than Title. And I also feel like the way it went down, I mean, we're really starting to see the skill expression in TFT. I understand that the meta wasn't the ideal situation. When you saw the augment screen, there were 8 herbs. I'm like, no, Hong Lien!
C'est que c'est intéressant ce qu'il dit Frodan, hein. Il dit que même si c'était pas la méta la plus sexy, bah n'empêche qu'on sent qu'il y a vraiment du skill dans TFT maintenant, vraiment très puissamment quoi. Genre c'est vraiment poussé. Ça a l'air simple parce qu'on regarde et c'est un jeu qui a pas beaucoup de mécaniques. Tu sens le skill.
Regionals happening only 3 days before and waiting to take midterms. I'm really excited for the future. And also, I want to say one thing is that as much as you want your home region to win, this is really good for the growth of the entire global scene. I'd love to see Japan and other minor regions. When is it going to be Latam's turn? When is OCE going to finally cross the finish line? It's really exciting, and I can't wait for the future. We'll see you in Vegas.
All right, Bebe, your final thoughts on the day.
I mean, I do have to say that the skill expression of TFT has risen very significantly. Although the RNG aspect is quite huge in TFT, it does not deny the fact that these players have studied day and night for a very long duration of time, just as hard as many people have achieved in their lives. So I do think that TFT is becoming more sophisticated, and it makes me very happy to see players that put so much time and dedication, and especially passion into the game as well too, get rewarded for their efforts.
I'm honored to be able to watch games of such caliber, and also to be here in this set. This set is gorgeous. I've been saying that since day one, and my message to Alden is just chin up. You've been a great player the entire set. This is just one step closer to just continue being one of the best players of LATAM. And I just have to say thank you all for having me. Thank you. It's been a pleasure, and well, I'm just happy.
Gracias, Paya.
It has been a pleasure as well for me. I am so grateful to have had this opportunity.
Notamment, ce qui est intéressant, c'est Bébé hein, qui disait que les joueurs ont vraiment beaucoup travaillé pour arriver à ces championnats du monde, et même ceux qui étaient avant dans les phases de qualification. Et forcément, moi j'ai pensé au poker, hein. C'est que c'est des heures et des heures et des heures d'entraînement, alors que c'est tout le temps le même jeu. Et là, en plus sur TFT, les jeux ont beaucoup de variables. Donc,
7-10!
7-10! Ils ont dit 7-10!
Oh, we're playing it now!
7-10!
Ah!
Le 10?
Ils ont dit 7-10! Alors peut-être? 7-10?
Hey tacticians! Hey everybody!
7-10? Oh! Bama! Certaine? Ah bah?
And creative combinations to uncover set after set after set after set.
Bravo, c'est 9.5. Oh, le leak!
Hey everyone, I'm Matthew Whitrock, design lead for our newest set, which I'm excited to introduce today. We're calling this set, drumroll please, Remix Rumble.
Le set 10 s'appelle Remix
We've got
Rumble.
a full playlist today, so I'll open with gameplay and then pass it to the rest of the lineup to chat music, cosmetics, ranked, and more. We'll also jump backstage at a few points to give you a behind-the-scenes look at how different parts of Remix Rumble came together. All right, let's jump right into the bands. And by bands, I mean traits.
Les traits du 7-10.
In Remix Rumble, you're the DJ, and the board is your turntable. By combining different traits, you'll create a medley of beats and genres. Let's start with familiar chart toppers, beginning with the ultimate pop stars, KDA.
Alors, on pourra
Get
jouer
the
KDA, les
entire
amis.
lobby bumping with KDA and their most dedicated superfans. Position them just so, and you'll find yourself at the performance of a lifetime, with incredible choreography and a bunch of bonus stats. Okay, let's make like a collie and hop over to the next band. True Damage and Pentakill are also in the mix, and both stay true to their names.
Deux nouvelles synergies, True Damage et Pentakills.
Wait, that can't be right. Ah, this is more like it. True Damage members are all about style, and will gain a unique bling bonus that'll power them up as you itemize them. Oh, and before you ask, Akali will be able to be played in KDA or True Damage. Her trait will change based on whichever band is trending at the time. All right, Metalheads,
change en fonction des
Pentakill's
synergies.
up next. Pentakill members have damage reduction and bonus damage that increases as they score kills. And if your team manages to get a Pentakill, then their bonuses will increase again. Just be careful in Yorick's mosh pit. Then there's Heartsteel, fresh off their
Ah, on
debut
pourra jouer
and already
Heartsteel.
making their mark on the convergence.
Tout
These
nouveau.
guys are ready to bring the energy and do whatever it takes for their fans. They may have started out underground, but they're certainly able to take you to the top of the charts and the lobby if you can conquer their risky style. But we can't put on a proper Remix Rumble with only 4 bands. We also have some all-new groups entering the convergence. With original TFT looks, Lulu and Ziggs make up the jittery, ridiculous, hyperpop duo Glitter Bomb. Speaking of original TFT skins,
Ziggs qui fait duo avec
Remix
Lulu.
Rumble has plenty. There's a whole new class, superfans, who show off their fandom with style. The trait pumps up your headliner, more on that later, by turning one or more of their items into radiant items.
Oh, une
My
classe qui s'appelle Super
personal
Fan.
favorite new look is Bard,
Y a
who
Bard.
has joined the jazz trio Free Flow. He and his meeps are looking as smooth as they sound. Before I get into the mechanics, let's head backstage to learn more about how we made some of these traits with Alex Cole and one of our lesser-known devs.
Back à trio.
We knew set 10 was going to be our big music set. So when we think back of kind of like
C'est un
what
set
the
basé
steps
sur la
were, we
musique.
knew we were going to have this big music moment. We were celebrating 10 sets of TFT, which was going to be huge. And really, we just kind of leaned right in and we were like, cool, we know we're going to do all of these cool origins. And then we go through the process of what skin lines do we have available that we can tie those to. And luckily, we had a ton of cool and groovy skin lines. And we played with them a little bit with like Space Groove becoming disco and some stuff like that. But yeah, we were pretty quick to just turn right in and be like, oh, wow, we have tons of things to pull from, which is really exciting.
So I'm pretty excited about Heartsteel. The economy trait is always a fan favorite of ours, but we've had this problem for a long time where the economy trait is you get it at 2-1 or you don't really play it. And so this time we took a very clear goal of how do you play it if you don't hit it at 2-1? And so what you can do is you can play it at any point in the game, and the more you've got, the bigger the payout. You try to lose by just a little bit, but even if you win, you're still going to be getting those fan, and then it's going to cash out after a few turns. And so you can even pivot into it in the late game, and I think that's going to be a real skill expressive part of the game, is that ability to go, okay, I'm in a position where I can play Heartsteel for a few turns, and then get my reward, and then pivot back. And I think that's going to lead to a lot of really cool skill expressive moments.
My favorite trait this set is definitely the country trait, which features our Desperado band. Historically in TFT, we've done a lot of really cool things with summon traits. We did Baron this last set, we did Innovator in set 6. I'm really excited for Country to join those ranks. So with Country, we have something called the Midnight Horse, which is Hecarim, and when your champions sort of
Country,
get
vous avez
lower
un
or lose
Hecarim
health,
à gauche.
Hecarim will ride in and save the day. So operating a little bit like Galio from set 4, if players remember that one. So I think the challenges with these two is we kept trying to find the identity for each of them, and they ended up being really intertwined with each other. So there was a day where myself, Whitrock, the set lead, and Mort literally sat down and mapped out the entire set on a whiteboard. I don't remember who it was, but one of us was just like, oh, we don't have a summon trait. And we kind of played around with that. And on the flip side, we were also playing around with like, is it risky to have our econ trait be one of the main verticals? Like, is that something we want to do or try? Which is really exciting. And we ended up going with it and kind of seeing those two traits in particular, like kind of kept going back and forth and changing shape with each other. But we were happy with how it all landed. Yeah, I would say it's pretty clear on this team that I'm probably the biggest Ari stan around. So KDA being in the set is a huge, exciting moment for me.
Mechanics.
When deciding which mechanics to include in Remix Rumble, we wanted to bring you a greatest hits playlist from past sets, starting with Runeterra Reforged. Portals are making a comeback.
Les portails restent.
They'll have a bit less impact than some of the wilder ones from last set. We can do without you, Stillwater Hold, but they're sure to continue creating memorable moments. We won't be bringing back Legends for Remix
C'est
Rumble.
fini les légendes!
We learned a lot from seeing how Legends could influence the meta and individual enjoyment of the set, so we feel like there's more exploration and experimentation to be done in this space before we potentially revisit it, but we'll keep you updated along the way. Okay, back to what we are bringing back. One of TFT's most beloved mechanics is returning in an updated way.
Mécanique revient.
No, not augments, although we will be introducing new augments for Remix Rumble as well. I'm talking about headliners, our fresh take on the chosen mechanic from Fates.
Les élus.
Headliners are the star of your board. They appear occasionally in shops and are purchased at 2 stars. Headliners have tons of immediate power, and they give you +1 to one of their traits. But here's where headliners diverge from
C'est pas les mêmes élus qu'au 7-4.
Each one will have a specific headliner effect that empowers them in a way that only a true fan would appreciate. Take Bard from the Jazz Trio, who improvises a few notes to either heal an ally or deal a bit of damage. When Bard is your headliner, every 10 casts will generate a meep that allows him to play 1 extra note on his first cast of combat. Bard is the type of headliner that will scale into the endgame. Whether that scale is major or minor depends on how early you can get it. Some headliners will be difficult to find endgame carries. Take Yorick, a legendary unit who temporarily summons ghouls.
Légendaire 2
When this
étoiles.
headbanger is your headliner, the ghouls will be bigger and deal more damage. And one more thing
Alors
about...
du coup, on va pouvoir continuer, je vous explique. Les élus, en fait, sont pas exactement comme les élus du set d'avant. Ils ont chacun des boosts plus puissants. Et là, typiquement, vous avez vu un des boosts de Yorick. Quand il est élu, il a plus de ghouls qui apparaissent et deviennent de plus en plus fortes.
Our mechanics. All of them will be harmonizing together. So keep an eye and an ear out for that. All right, let's check back in with Alex and Mort to talk more about headliners.
C'est toujours 2 étoiles, effectivement.
So early on, when we were exploring the different mechanics, we knew we were doing a music theme. And so we kind of had this image where it's like, okay, the band is all on there together, but what is it that makes it special? How can we twist it? And we kept coming back to, it's like, well, who's singing at the moment? Who's the star of the show, if you will? And that kind of led us to a system we call Headliner, which was like, okay, you're going to pick who your headliner is. And we kept coming up with versions that were slightly different than Chosen, but had a lot of the same advantages. Chosen was one of our first big mechanics that wasn't just like galaxies or a variation. And it was something that allowed every champion to kind of be the centerpiece, right? Like you would tell stories of, oh, this was the game I got Silas chosen, and I did this thing, or this was the game I got Kennen chosen. But what was interesting is as we were kind of researching it, we realized that was before a lot of these other mechanics, right? Augments hadn't been around. And so a lot of the burden of the system has changed. And so as we were looking at this and kind of seeing all the pieces come together, it felt like kind of a greatest hits of TFT, which once we realized that was such a great opportunity to bring it all together. And so that's when we kind of anchored on Headliner being sort of the upgraded Chosen. You know, we've got Radiant items, augments, portals, and it really does sort of feel like 10 sets worth of TFT knowledge all coming together to make this really awesome set.
I think with the headliner mechanic, players will be most excited about the champ fantasies that it unlocks. So whether you are a player that really loves re-rolling those 1 or 2 costs, or you're a player that likes those 4 cost carry fantasies, headliner allows you to do any direction you want every game, and unlocks a lot of variation, which is exciting. These are things that we never predict coming in, like what is the built different comp of this set? Like what are the combinations that we during production have no idea are coming, that we see videos of at 2 a.m. From China, and we're like, wow, that's amazing, I can't believe they came up with this idea.
Those cool combinations that keep you coming back and have an exciting payoff, I think is always what we're looking for when we're making new sets. It's like, what is the cool next thing to try out?
La musique maintenant.
Hey everyone, I'm Cole Hicks, lead composer of Remix Rumble, and I'm here to talk about the heart of this set, the music. In Remix Rumble, each trait brings new sounds to your board. While you're building your team, you're building your track. Remix Rumble was an all-hands-on-deck moment for our team. Many different composers and collaborators created original music for each origin trait, and made it possible for all of it to meld together in any combination based on whichever units you have out on your board. To make genres like metal sound seamless with, say, jazz or pop, we wrote 2 main songs. Through a mix of layers that contain drums, chords, and melodies, your track will be built alongside your team. And as the game progresses, your track will too. Starting off one way during the preparation phase, and building up to a more complex chorus for the battle. Let me show you an example of how all this will look and sound. Starting with our disco band.
Vous l'avez compris, en gros, en fonction de la composition que vous jouez, la musique change et il y a des transitions qui sont faites en mode en fonction des musiques et des champions que vous mettez sur le terrain. Il va montrer des exemples.
The Disco Knots. Their trait gives you a placeable disco ball that will heal your allies and grant them attack speed. As you get later into the game, you can add in more disco knots to strengthen the trait. Then you could add in a destructive splash of pentakill for a killer guitar solo, soaring over it all. Now let's talk a bit about the tracks we wrote. For groups like KDA and Pentakill that already exist in the League IP, we tried to capture their instrumental essence with some TFT twists. And we brought in new genres like 8-bit and country, but more on those later. We also made sure powerful units like Jin got their moment in the spotlight. For Maestro, Jin's legendary trait, we mixed in a Paganini-esque violin solo to create a modern interpretation of classical music, fit for the virtuoso himself. This sound was the perfect fit for a trait that deals extra damage to tactician health and a champion whose ability builds up in a cadenza of damage. By putting out different units on your board, you'll create a symphony of controlled chaos. Try combining the relentless drums of Pentakill with our harpsichord-heavy emo band, Big Sad. Or maybe as your comp changes, you'll create music that features the bass of true damage alongside the groovy horn section of Disco Knots. It's absolutely ridiculous, and that's just TFT. All right, let's head backstage with the team
ils ont beaucoup travaillé sur ça. Ça peut plaire, et d'autres qui sont oseves, je pense, mais ils ont beaucoup travaillé sur ça. Chaque unité change de son. Vous imaginez quand vous appuyez sur mute, vous allez mute ces personnes-là? Faut pas faire ça.
Moving on? Awesome. Okay. Cool. Yeah, let's move on. All right. Everybody's happy.
I think one of the challenges of working on this set is the multiple genres and how they're going to be remixed into one another. There are a total of, I believe, 10 to 12 genres, some of them more bespoke than others because it's based on our virtual band, but all of this are being done by 7 composers together. So this is the biggest collaboration within Riot composers that we have done for Teamfight Tactics.
Authenticity is both a goal and a challenge. Because we're doing so many different genres, and some of them have a fair amount of crossover as far as types of sounds and things that we're using. For example, we're doing a DJ Sona genre, but we also have a straight like EDM genre. And so you almost have to really lean into the things that might be different about those two things. Like we have this established thing that Riot has done versus a genre that already exists, and really kind of leaning into some of the more expected things that players are going to want to be hearing.
How do we make it so that each of our elements actually stand out in a way that right away an audience would be able to be like, oh, like they're doing this punk rock thing, without getting it confused with Pentakill, right? A metal band. They both use guitars, they both use drums, they both use bass. How are those genres being executed differently and is able to be recognized by our players right away?
KDA is another example of like, it's not just what are the things that make it sound like KDA, it's what are the things that make it sound like KDA if just the drums are playing, or if just the chords are playing. One of the cool things about this set is that it is supposed to be a bit crazy sometimes. So we were able to sort of like lean into it, being like, oh, that sounds a bit silly.
Yeah,
but it's
and some
kinda
surprising
cool.
things came out that were really cool. Like, for example, I think we discovered that saxophone solo over Heartsteel is very cool. We have also discovered that a violin solo on top of Jason's EDM track is very cool.
Very cool. And we would have never made those choices as composers.
Normally,
right. It's okay to lean into the silliness sometimes because it is a fun idea and it's supposed to be fun.
Right.
Whereas other genres obviously will work in a way where you're like, oh, that's like, I would put that on my playlist and listen to it.
Yeah. For us, the collaboration is a little chaotic, and I think that's also us embracing that.
Il y a un truc qu'ils n'ont pas encore dit, mais qui est sympa, c'est si vous arrivez à faire une musique genre cohérente avec toutes les listes de traits là, qui sont à gauche par exemple, et que ça rend bien, c'est un orchestre et tout, vous gagnez ou perdez du coup moins de LP en fonction de votre position, donc plutôt sympa.
That energy of like, we're not entirely sure if this is gonna work, and we're just kind of, you know, like riding with the flow and write what we believe in, and then we come together and let's hear how.
Non mais comme ça, il y a des gens qui peuvent jouer au jeu et d'autres faire de la musique. Non,
how this is gonna go.
TFT is the space where, as a composer, I get to play around the most and, you know, basically try whatever fun ideas I might have. The team is very open to experimentation. So from that perspective, even though it is a fair amount different than anything we've done in TFT before, I think TFT is the perfect place to do it. And I think the players of TFT are also really on board with these kinds of fun ideas.
100%. Hi everyone, I'm Ananda Gupta, Design Director on TFT. Today, I'm here to give an update on cosmetics. And then I'll talk about Ranked, as well as a much anticipated release for many of our players, the Asia Pacific mobile launch. We're thrilled to bring more high quality personalization that will be released throughout the start of Remix Rumble. Ahead of that, we want to give you a sneak peek and equip you with an understanding of the release schedule, both to prepare collectors as well as inform folks who want to nab their favorite. Chibi Set and Chibi Heartsteel Set have entered the building, and they're looking to pull off a heist straight to the top of the lobby. Chibi Heartsteel Set moves fast and will depart the Treasure Realms after the first 2 weeks of Remix Rumble. And if you want more, the KDA Arena is definitely more. Drop your comp smack dab in the middle of a KDA show and take top 4 or bottom 4. It won't matter with an arena this stunning. After 2 weeks, Chibi KDA Akali will screech onto the scene. Then, the moment I've been waiting for, KDA Kaisa will hit the convergence 3 weeks into the set. She and KDA Akali will be available through Treasure Realms that will only last until our next event. Each drop will provide high-value content, from chibis to mythic little legends, and even a chance to hit a random chibi variant like Dragonmancer Ash or Star Guardian Lux. But the biggest high roll of those collector capsules is KDA Kaisa. Kaisa is the centerpiece for players looking to flaunt that extra special drop. But Prestige Treasure Realms are full of high-value offerings from past sets. So, whether you're a collector looking to pick up something you missed, or a little legend enthusiast just getting your first chibi, no matter what you hit, it's bound to hit hard. After Remix Rumble ships, we've got even more work ahead of us. We know players want more say in what they purchase, and we're working towards exactly that in a system we're internally calling the Seasonal Store. We're not quite ready to go into the finer details yet, but I am ready to get into Remix Rumble's pass. Remix Rumble marks our transition to 3 sets a year, and we're updating our pass structure to reflect that. We'll still have 2 passes in every set, But since sets now last 4 months, each pass will be 2 months long. So we're redistributing rewards and accelerating pass progression to make all the rewards easier to obtain. Not every pass will look the same. Each Pass Plus will have different high-value rewards. For example, you'll see our new Neon Stage Arena in Remix Rumble's first pass, and in the Rumble's second half, Sugar Cone Poro. And just as our pass is changing to accommodate 3 sets a year, our ranked season is also changing. Like League of Legends, we're adding Emerald tier to our ranked ladder. It'll add more climbing room, while also recognizing the skill progression that players show between Platinum and Diamond. This comes at the perfect time as we transition to creating 3 sets a year, and 3 ranked seasons to go with them. Without mid-sets, there's no soft reset of your rank throughout the season, so you'll have more time to track your progress on the expanded ladder, prove your skill, and get new Emerald rewards. We're not looking to make the climb harder. Emerald and a longer season should mean a smoother, more consistent climb.
Ceux qui ne connaissent pas Emerald, hein, qui est disponible déjà sur League of Legends actuellement et qui est un nouveau classement entre platine et diamant. Mais effectivement, ça devrait pas vous concerner normalement.
Overall. We know TFT is a more chaotic game than League, and we don't want to punish or reward you too much for performance outliers. You can play great and still low roll in TFT, and our ranked system should and will reflect that. Okay, before you get too excited and queue up for ranked, let's chat mobile. The launch of Remix Rumble in late November will be the first time TFT is available on mobile in APAC regions. And we're shipping a number of improvements along with this launch that will impact the entire world. But first, I want to thank our APAC players for their patience. We've been working towards bringing mobile to you since we launched it during Galaxies, and we know that you've awaited its arrival ever since. In preparation for this launch, our Tools and Engine team has been hard at work making mobile usability, stability, and performance improvements. And for the tablet players out there, one of these improvements is tablet support. Come Remix Rumble, you can say goodbye to the black bars and wonky scaling when playing on tablet.
Il y a une vraie appli de tablette maintenant.
Smoother, prettier, tablet-tailored experience. We've seen a ton of anticipation for TFT Mobile in APAC and tablet support across the world. And we can't wait to kick it all off with Remix Rumble. So, APAC players, make sure to pre-register for our launch, as we'll be offering multiple pre-registration milestone rewards, from treasure tokens to a new little legend, Boba T-River Sprite. And if you're not in APAC, don't worry, this little sprite will eventually be available to everyone.
Was that the last Boba?
Yep.
Oh. Okay. Hey everyone, Sherman back to talk about all things TFT esports. It's been awesome to see the growth of TFT esports over the last few sets. We've seen 3 sets of steady viewer growth for set championships, and with the Runeterra Reforged Championship, we're hoping to make it 4. We're about 5 weeks out from our first global LAN event, the TFT Vegas Open. It'll be from December 8th through the 10th, with 500...
Alors, Vegas, c'est dans un mois, mesdames et messieurs, pile poil, dans un mois... Je sais pas s'il y en a qui vont à Vegas parmi vous, parmi les joueurs qu'il y a ici, mais il y aura a priori quelques Français normalement.
12 competitors from around the world as they take over the MGM Grand. I first want to say that we were blown away by how quickly competitor passes sold out back in September, and we can't wait to see you battle it out there. The event happens early in Remix Rumble, testing players' ability to adapt, innovate, and lead the meta. This is a moment where players from anywhere can step into the spotlight and become IRL headliners. The player that comes out on top will walk away with $100,000, a trophy, and most importantly, the TFT Vegas Open title. And even if you don't get first, the 128 players who make it to day 2 will win a piece of the $300,000 prize pool. And all 512 players who participate in the event will get a unique emote based on how far they make it into the tournament. But don't worry, the Vegas Open won't be a replacement for a championship. Now that we've switched over to 3 sets a year, we're adjusting to have a competitive season for each one. So rest assured there will be a Remix Rumble Championship at the end of the set. It'll be the culmination of Remix Rumble, so we have high expectations for the comps players will bring to the finals, now that they've had a chance to master the set. For those of you competing in Vegas, PvE goes live the second week of November. So get out there and start crafting your go-to comps.
Le PBE normalement devrait être up mercredi ou mardi soir. D'accord? Donc ça arrive assez vite. Vous savez que ça dépend plutôt des informations de dernière minute, l'horaire précise. Donc voilà, juste stay tuned et préparez-vous à la guerre pour pouvoir jouer sur le PBE.
As for everyone else, we're super excited for our first ever LAN event, and we hope to see you all there, either in person or digitally. All right, thanks so much for watching. Good luck and have fun out there. Till next time.
Alors, Remix Rumble, hypé ou pas hypé le chat? La musique, un nouveau circuit. Oui. Méga hype, oui. De ouf.
Welcome back. This time
Que des oui,
around, though, to a very groovy
Un ou deux
stage because we're already mentally in the Remix Rumble. Live Q&A with, of course,
Vous remets sur la
Mordoc
caméra
and
de
Froden. I don't
Kyunil.
think I need to introduce you guys, but I'll do it regardless.
Pour écouter
And
nos
to
chers loulous.
start it off right from the get-go, last thing we heard in that video was from Sherman saying there will be a championship for set 10. Mort, what about 11 and 12?
Yeah, so what we've definitely committed to is that there will be a championship for every set, the 3 sets a year moving forward. I think a lot of people were concerned when we made that swap, is it going to go down to 2 championships? But nope, the plan is there will be 3 championships. Should be exciting and should be even more prize pools to compete for. Should be interesting. Stay tuned for all the details. We don't have all that yet here today, but moving forward again, we are committing 3 championships next year.
All right, well, that's good news for us because we're paid to be here. So I'm glad for more championships. Let's talk a little bit about the set, shall we? People are here to talk about the set, not necessarily just the esports, although the esports is great, Mix. I love that. Chosen is back in the form of headliners, Mort. First of all, the question is, why even bring it back? And also, what's different about it this time around? Because I do remember Chosen had some frustrating elements about it last time.
Yeah, so I'll try to break it down here. Headliner is a different take on Chosen for sure, and it made sense with the audio theme, the music, kind of like who's the star of the show, who's like your lead singer, and so we kind of liked that thematic, and it gave us another chance to take a crack at the mechanic and really show a way Headliner could be fun. But like you said, we have made some pretty big changes. The first of which is that if you don't have a headliner, there will be a headliner in every single shop.
Oh.
So it'll be very easy to
Énorme information, hein. Il y aura un élu dans chaque shop tant que vous en achetez pas un.
Sort of play around and sort of go for specific headliners, make changes as you need. And then one of the interesting things is, as we were developing it, one of our designers, Liv, kind of pushed us, and we ended up making a pretty fundamental change, which is that this time, even if you have a headliner, you will still see headliners in your shop, every 4 shops.
Wow, okay.
So what happens is there's actually some cool strategy where it's like, okay.
Deuxième information par rapport aux élus, si vous avez un élu, tous les 4 shops, vous allez voir un élu. Ce qui veut dire qu'à tout moment, vous n'êtes pas bloqué avec le vôtre, vous pouvez juste snowball avec, et là, paf, le jeter et voir celui qui arrive, qui peut surprendre et changer votre compo, quoi.
Okay, I've got this headliner, it's a 1 cost, I want to pivot, so I'm going to sell it and then do, look for a 4 cost and roll with 100%. Or as I'm playing, I can hold on to it and then maybe see something in my shop and react to it. So it's a lot more active than last time. Whereas I think with Chosen, that was so rare, it felt like you had to high roll. It felt like you had to, oh, they got lucky and they hit a 4 cost. That's gone this time. There are plenty of headliners to choose from. So now it's about making the right choice for the comp, and there will be lots of opportunities.
Wow, that's actually so big. And also, you hear that, TFT chefs? Pivoting is back on the menu thanks to headliners. The only follow-up I want to ask is you did mention something about bag sizes changing your dev learnings article, and that has to do a little bit with Chosen in terms of like how many units are in the pool available?
Yeah, so going into PBE, there are going to be some system changes. Bag sizes right now, I believe we're actually going to leave alone for starting for PBE to check it out.
Okay.
But there are also going to be some changes to the leveling system. For example, going to level 6, 7, and 8, and 9 will all actually be quite a bit cheaper.
Oh, give me a high five.
But
yes,
they are.
Il change l'XP aussi, les amis, puisque ce sera plus facile de passer niveau 6, 7, 8, 9. Il faudra dépenser moins d'argent.
Slightly nerfed, and to compensate, level 10 is now a permanent feature of the game, and so if you want to hit those 3-star 5 costs, you've got to go to level 10 now, and so it will sort of change the dynamic, but the big thing is level 8 is easier to hit,
And that's where you're going to see your 4-cost headliners. So you're going to see a lot more, I think, fast 8 strategies are going to kind of come back, as well as the reroll strategies, and then going to 9 for those big headliners.
Look at all the content. Now you can go to level 10, roll once and die. Truly, Mordog is so generous. The gift that keeps on giving.
Okay, I get it. I'm on board with the new headliners. Wasn't the biggest fan of the Chosens, but this sounds pretty good, I'll admit. Though, coming to Remix Rumble as like the big system, we saw it in the video, I think people were really impressed with it as well. The ability to kind of make your own track as you go with like a big team that is recording all of these songs. How long did you work on that? It seems like a massive system.
Yeah, the team put a ton of work into this, and I'm so proud of them for what has happened here. The music system, when you play, it kind of blows your mind, all the different combinations you can make. You know, you put in 3 disco, all of a sudden you've got 1 track, and then you throw in Jin, you've got that violin. It's so awesome to see. I'm going to have to be playing without my normal music on, which is going to be cool to listen to all that. But yeah, with the music set, we had to do something big. And we've been talking about how the TFT team has been growing, and this was a great opportunity to show some of the things we're capable of. And so, yeah, the team put a lot of hard work in. You saw in the dev drop there, sort of that full orchestra kind of working together.
Yeah.
I admit, I got a little teary-eyed when I was watching that dev drop, because holy moly, it is such a big, like, we've become this really big game. It's really awesome. So definitely don't play with your sound muted this set. You're going to miss out on a lot. Jin in particular, I love that violin track.
Right, and it looks like it was like unique skins as well coming to TFT. Really, really cool. The inspiration behind that. So I guess people are wondering, like, hey, I'm also a TFT and a League of Legends fan. Sorry to hear that you have to split your time a little bit more. So are some of these skins, like, what are they going to do in terms of League of Legends as well?
So yeah, for this set, we wanted to make our own skins, and it's something we've been talking about, flexing that muscle for a bit. You've seen that with things like Silco, with Sohm. But the reality is, there were a couple of cases like KDA, for example, where it's like, okay, who's going to be the tank? Well, none of these band members really make sense to be a tank, so we had to kind of get creative and figure out who we wanted to be the tank and sort of support these. And we sort of showed that muscle. We also had a chance to make some more unique ones, things like Jin, like we talked about. As far as League goes, nothing to announce today here, but if players are excited about it, you know, talk to people, let us know that you really like these skins. But again, it's just kind of showing that the TFT team is growing and all the cool things we can do now.
I actually have a reverse question to that, because I have a friend who's very, very eager to get a Shaco chibi. I'm just putting it out there if you want to make it happen.
More, please, my mental.
Coming back, though, to returning mechanics, we already knew from previous leaks that the portals will be back. Are they going to be back in the same way, or will they be different?
Yeah, so the big change to portals this time is there's still 3 portals, but they're downsized quite a bit. You're not going to see anything that's incredibly wild, right? You're not going to get 2 tacticians crowns.
You're not
going
les
to see
portails, les amis,
House Light Shield
mais
or
ils
anything
sont
like
moins
that.
forts.
They're a lot more mellow, so it might be like 1 full item anvil, or it might be, hey, the last augment is guaranteed to be gold, or all silver. So they're a lot more subdued, but we really like the variation that they added. But we didn't want them to be the focus. So they're still there. They're still creating some cool things. Scuttle Puddle will still be around.
Okay.
And then the other news is that we're actually shipping with, around, I believe it's 25 portals, give or take.
Okay.
And then after the first 2 patches, we're actually going to add a few more to kind of just slowly ease into some of those really wild things. We don't want to start with, imagine like a Tome of Traits portal on the very first patch. So you can look up to more additional content sort of as those first patches go.
What are you talking about? More players love Tome of Traits. I just saw 8 players play it.
All
right. Well, let's talk a little bit about returning mechanics as a follow-up to that. So, when Whitrock was on camera, he was talking about how it's TFT's greatest hits and talking about how there's portals, there's augments. Legends won't be returning, but there's also Chosen in the form of headliners. So, are we going to see other things?
What's a bonheur?
Dragons, shadow items, some of the best hits that TFT has to offer?
I mean, the number of times we've joked about shadow augments, I'm not going to lie, is pretty high. But the reality is, it's sort of awesome that as we've been developing TFT, every set is sort of a new thing to try and sort of learn from that, right? We started with Galaxies, with the Galaxies mechanic, and I think some of those Galaxies were fun, and some were not. There were some that were like pretty wild. But as we learned, that helped us develop into something like portals. And so a lot of our past mechanics show that design space potential for something in the future. So, like you mentioned dragons as an example. Yeah, we struggled a little bit there with the two size units, but we've learned a lot since then, and who knows, maybe we'll revisit in the future. But, the game keeps getting bigger and bigger, and so we don't want to necessarily get too insane, but there's always potential.
And a quick follow-up, hero augments is something I didn't bring up. Hero augments and headliner sounds like it's a really crazy combo. Is that making a comeback as well? Because some people did love the implementation of the boss and Ravenous Hunter.
Yeah, me.
Yeah, I think those augments showed the potential of like that hero augment space, right? We don't want to necessarily do it to every champion, but a few champions is good. This set, there will not be those type of augments. It doesn't mean it's a bad thing. We're just taking a break from it. Because, like you said, it does overlap pretty heavily with the headliner mechanic. And as Whitrock mentioned, the headliner mechanic, every champion has a different thing. So some of them just get like some extra AP or some extra AP. But some of them do have unique twists. As he mentioned, Bard has some interesting mechanics there with his meeps and things like that. So that gives us the room that if we find a space where we're like, oh, it'd be really cool if this tank did this cool thing, we can definitely do that. And so as an example, maybe take a look on Mordekaiser if you get a chance to try it. He's got a pretty interesting headliner mechanic.
All right.
All right. Now, if you were attentive during the video and you paid real good attention to everything that was going on there, you did see not only the amazing Yorick, who I really love, but we also could see Alawi making a comeback, this time a little bit more grandiose, no?
Yeah, so we had that dev drop where we showed off an Alawi as an Astral 5 cost.
Je pense pas qu'ils avaient parlé d'un petit leak.
Down, and it was pretty cool.
I remember that.
But what happened is during development,
c'était quel set, mais à la fin du, je crois que c'est 7-6, ils avaient dit, vous allez voir qu'il y aura des dragons.
Capstone on a
Là,
comp
c'est genre,
that stays level
c'est une
5
conférence de
and
presse.
level 6. So we ended up having to shift her down to 3, and so this was an opportunity to kind of revisit that. And Alawi is one of the people that gets her own unique skin, the Ill-Beat skin. She's got her own trait. Yeah, she's got her own skin, her own trait. She's a 5 cost with placeable tentacles, so you can figure out where you want those. They provide extra damage, and they work with her spell. She's a really flexible frontliner that also does a good amount of damage. So yeah, kind of happy to finally bring her back as a 5 cost, as intended.
Okay, I do want to ask the million-dollar question on a lot of people's mind. We just had an esports tournament. I think a lot of people's concern is, look, TFT looks like it's scaling up, a lot of production value, but balance has been a pain point for some people. I've been vocal about it as well. I feel like I've complained about balance a fair amount this set. What is the philosophy going into set 10 to make sure, Rumble Remix, we know the facial name now. What's the philosophy going into Rumble Remix where we feel like this actually is going to be addressed?
Yeah, so I think, you know, with the Horizon Bound in particular, we saw a lot of balance pain points, and I'm not going to hide that, but that kind of shows the difficulty in development we've been dealing with all this time, right? Mid-sets, we have about 2.5 months to put it together. That's not much time to get everything right. Whereas now that we're shifting to this 3 sets a year model, we've had a lot of time to sort of really iron out the kinks, really go from there. And then there's some other changes behind the scenes we're making as well to really make sure the balance is going to be in a good spot. But right now, the fact that we have that longer development time, teams are already working on, you know, the set after this, the set after that. You know, I think we're going to be a lot more confident here. And so hopefully we can, you know, put our money where our mouth is here. We definitely hear the pain, but like I said, we're feeling really good about this. We've had a lot of time, so keep us honest, though.
You said put your money where your mouth is. I heard that you wagered...
I did.
$500 for no B patches for set 10. Is that correct?
For at least for the first few months, yes.
Oh my god!
Because I really do believe in.
Bordeaux qui a dit je parie 500 balles pour les 2 premiers mois qu'il n'y aura pas de B-patch.
And I've been part of the playtest.
Okay.
I've seen the playtest. Honestly, we're in so much better of a spot than we've ever been as far as balance is concerned. And even this week while I've been here in Spain, all the team's been doing is ironing that out. And so I've never seen us have this much time before. We still have PBE as well. So honestly, I'm feeling pretty good. Not 100%, but I think this kind of shows just trying to be accountable and really put my money where my mouth is.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Now, we also heard, finally, tablet support is coming. I've been tagged in oh so many at TFT Twitter threads where people just randomly ask for tablet supports on talent announcements. I know people are craving this. It's finally here, and it's coming to APAC as well with mobile support. Does that mean set 10 is the first really global launch?
Yeah, I mean, this is something we've been heading up for a while, and set 10 felt like the right time. You know, it's our 10th set, and the team's been working really hard. We know mobile, you know, didn't necessarily ship in like the most finalized state here. And so, yeah, we've got, you know, APAC's going to be able to play it. We've got tablet support, and it's not just like the scaled up version. It actually looks really nice on some great tablets.
Nice.
It supports all the different resolutions that can scale around. So that's really awesome. And the other thing to talk about is the fact that even though we're going to ship this, we're not done. Like, this isn't like, cool, we're done with mobile, hands off. No, the team is actually already working on what's next for that, because we do want mobile to not be this sort of second-class citizen. We want to really give it all the attention it deserves to kind of put it on par with the PC. And so let us know as you play the mobile version and you play with the new tablet version. Let us know what you think, and we will keep iterating on that. This isn't, the end.
Yeah, I mean, 2 mobile players made it to top 8 of the Runeterra Reforged Championship.
Yeah.
So time for the tablet players to rise up, and then all of a sudden, no one's playing on the same devices by the end of it.
Yep.
I went a little bit hard on you, so I kind of want to ease up a little bit. Let's say, Set 10 PB is dropping very soon, actually just in a couple of days. What's the first couple of things you recommend for us to try out? Because there's so much, it's going to be easy to get lost after playing the base set where you feel like you understand the champions, you're going to be overwhelmed by all the colors and lights.
Yeah, so if you're first starting on this set, the 2 big traits I recommend, the first one is Country. Country plays around Samira and Urgot, who are 3 costs. It's the summoning trait. It provides that Hecarim. It's got that extra power. And so it's a relatively easier comp to play. You can play around those champions based on what items you hit. It's a really good early start, I think. The other one is going to be KDA. KDA is a really simple vertical. If you're really optimizing it, you don't necessarily play 7, but it is an easy thing to build. Play around that Ahri. Ahri is going to be that 4-cost carry that provides a lot of single target damage. Pretty easy to play. And then the other thing to note is if you're playing KDA, you might hit that chase trait. There's a 10 KDA if you can hit it. And without the augments to help that, it's going to be pretty hard to hit. But again, with these prismatic traits, we want them to be powerful if you hit them, and a lot rarer than they were in Runeterra Reforged.
All right, it's kind of like that song. I'm a little bit country, and I'm a little bit ADA. So.
Well, I was thinking of Meowdy, but you took that one right from me. But coming to like the bigger picture, the next big event that's coming up is, of course, I'll try really hard to call it by the correct name, the Vegas Open on the 8th of December. What can we expect from that event?
Yeah, so there's going to be a really cool competition, 512 players competing for a big prize pool in a pretty accelerated format. But again, kind of a chance to play in person with a live audience. If you're going there, there's also going to be panels with devs, meet the devs, things like that. There's a bunch of cool stuff planned here. I can't spoil all the surprises, but honestly, it's going to be worth your time if you can be there. And if not, definitely tune in. There should be some really unique aspects of the broadcast that will feel, I think, a little different than these championships. Maybe a little more, I don't know, friendly. That's not the right word, but something just a little more lighthearted, and the fact that everyone will be there in person. There might be some unexpected moments, so definitely tune in.
All right, sounds very exciting. We hope that you guys at home also tune in. That has been it from us. I'm sure there's more news coming on the front of Remix Rumble now that it's finally out. And we hope you tune in on the 8th of December for the Vegas Open, and you check out Remix Rumble on the PvE and when it launches. Thank you so much for watching.
J'espère que ceux qui savaient strictement
see you
rien
guys
du
again the next
7-10,
time, hopefully.
vous êtes hypés. Au revoir.
Las Vegas.
Au revoir.
Au revoir Mix, au revoir Frodan, au revoir Mordog. Belle danse.
Wow.
Très très belle danse. Bon écoutez, c'est la fin de ces championnats du monde. Bon, c'était cool quand même.
C'était cool, c'était court. Abrupt. La fin, j'espérais tellement que Title perde, mais bon, c'est comme ça, hein, mais c'était une très très belle grande finale.
Ouais, Doki, belle finale quand même. Ça va, t'as kiffé? Je crois que t'es mute là.
Belle finale quand même, ouais. Belle finale quand même. 4 games, certes, court. Enfin, en fait, c'est ça, c'est court, mais en fait, il a trop bien joué, donc forcément, c'est rapide. Hein.
Et on a eu un total de 28 games. Ouais.
Il y a un truc, je crois qu'ils n'ont pas dit, arrêtez-moi si je me trompe, mais il me semble que dans les augments, on n'aura plus vous savez, de spatules de cœur, les spatules KDA, les spatules pentakill, il n'y aura plus ça.
Ils en ont pas parlé.
C'est quand même, je crois que c'est un big changement, il me semble bien qu'on l'avait entendu, donc voilà, je voulais quand même le dire. Je pense que c'est un très gros changement et c'est une bonne chose.
Oh, le leak de fou.
Ils en ont pas parlé, je crois, Yodin, mais...
Je crois bien que j'ai le droit de le dire.
Mais en tout cas, c'est vrai que c'est lié avec les headliners, puisque dans les headliners, vu que les élus, un peu comme Kellen Keeper à l'époque, vous avez un +1 Keeper, si en plus vous avez une augment qui vous donne +1, etc., bon, bah ça devient un petit peu trop what the fuck.
Trop.
Donc bon, fin de ces championnats du monde, mesdames et messieurs. J'étais très content de casser ça avec vous. Doki Unid, un plaisir en tout cas.
C'était très cool, c'était très très sympa, merci.
Qui est très très bon partenaire de cast, en tout cas, j'ai kiffé. Je trouve que le rythme aussi, au niveau de la prod d'Oriot, c'était très très efficace, c'était très rapide, c'est bien enchaîné malgré le nombre de joueurs et qui viennent de plein de différents continents et nations. Donc ça c'est vraiment sympa. C'était cool aussi d'avoir un plateau en Espagne où c'est vrai que c'est un petit peu dommage, j'aurais bien aimé qu'on ait un petit plateau pour la France pour ces championnats du monde, mais qui sait, le 7-10 et le nouveau format pourra peut-être nous changer la donne. Las Vegas, prochain événement, le 8 décembre, et bien sûr en attendant il y aura le PBE le 8 novembre a priori, si bien sûr tout se passe bien. Sur ce, je pense qu'on peut se laisser, messieurs. Je vous laisse peut-être un dernier mot, Yunid, pour commencer.
Ouais, écoute, merci à toi de m'avoir accueilli pour le cast, merci à tous d'avoir suivi le stream, j'espère que vous avez passé un bon moment, et puis je pense que le 7-10 annonce énormément d'événements à venir, et j'ai vraiment hâte de commander tout ça.
Prochain stream pour toi, Yunid, c'est quand ?
Ça va être après-demain, mardi, peut-être vers 13h.
Mardi 13h, le rendez-vous est pris, et pour toi, mon cher Doki ?
La suite, moi je dis au revoir au 7-9 en te prenant 500 balles mardi a priori. Donc tu me castes mardi, je te rappelle.
C'est vrai.
Let's go.
Eh oui, Doki s'est qualifié au tournoi TFT Be Quiet organisé avec Aegis. Et t'as fini premier en plus sur les qualifs.
J'ai fini premier, ouais. J'ai pas fait un seul bottom de 8 games. Donc j'ai vu que le compte Twitter Aegis avait tweeté. Je suis full cœur, c'est terminé, je fais dernier de cette finale. Vous êtes au courant.
Prends tes 500 balles et le ventilo là.
Ah, mais j'ai été cœur. Donc voilà, ça sera un bel au revoir pour moi. Moi, c'est compétitif pour la fin 2024 et avec Vegas et tout. Plus en tant que joueur en fin 2024, après. Fin 2023, pardon. Après 2024, ça reprend fort le stream, quoi.
Ouais, un petit mardi soir de compétition et mercredi ensuite normalement le PBE. Voilà un beau moment. Nous on va se retrouver les amis sur ma chaîne demain matin à 10h comme d'habitude. On sera lundi, normalement on stream pas le week-end ici, mais là c'était le cas. Mais je serai là demain à 10h et on va bien sûr parler de tout ça. On va aussi débriefer un petit peu tout. Bien sûr il y a plein de choses à dire aussi côté Aegis. Vous avez vu quelques petits leaks de Woulou qui sont quand même vachement sympas. Voilà, on se tient au courant. Passez un excellent dimanche. Reposez-vous bien. Salut Doki, salut Yunid et à très bientôt tout le monde.
Ciao.
Salut.
Bravo le Japon.